Today, we're going to talk about how much money I have in my Toyota Tundra and how much it cost you to replicate it as it stands. Everything on there was chosen and installed for a reason, but I want to be clear that you do not need to have all these things or even spend close to what I've spent on it in order to get out overlanding and having fun. In fact, unless you've got a lot of disposable income, the most expensive thing should be your gas. I want you to place your bets now. Do you think I've spent more on modifications or on gas in the 46,000 miles I've done since buying the Tundra? As we go, I'll include two costs. I'll include what I paid and what the retail price is, but both are going to be without taxes, shipping, or labor costs. There are a lot of things that I paid full price for on the truck, but there are also a bunch of things that I got discounted or even free, mostly in exchange for leaving my truck for research and design, but sometimes just because. It's also worth adding that just because I'm offered something for the truck doesn't mean that I'll take it. For example, I've had a bunch of suspension companies, bed racks, tents, lights, and even a couple of headlight companies offer me stuff for the truck, and I didn't see the value in it, so I didn't have them or didn't accept them. We'll start with the truck itself, which I bought in December 2021, just in time to write it off on my taxes. It's a 2022 Toyota Tundra Limited with the TRD off-road package and a couple other options, which I felt like I didn't really need, but since it was so early, I didn't have much choice. So I got the sunroof, JBL audio, and the nice heated steering wheel. The total cost for the truck was $60,972. There was also a $799 document fee, and I paid $3,230 for the 10-year, 125,000-mile extended warranty. Unfortunately, I massively overpaid for the warranty, but I didn't have anything to compare it to since I bought this so early on, and I've since learned that there are plenty of other people who have paid a lot less and even got the proper Toyota warranty, Toyota extended warranty, rather than the aftermarket one that I got. I wish that Toyota cared enough about me to give me a discount, but they don't. So I paid for it in full thanks to selling our previous house at exactly the right time. Probably not the best thing to do with money from selling a house. Not a great investment, but did it for the channel. The first major modification I did when I got the truck was pay full price for a Westcott lift and some Toyo all-terrain tires. They've since been replaced with bigger and better, so I'm not including those in the total spending. It now has Dobinson springs with Dobinson's MRR shocks in the rear and Fox 2.0 shocks in the front, along with some Adventure Motors adapters, brackets, extended brake lines to make it work early on. The total cost for the lift parts was $4,390, but in exchange for some video work, I ended up paying $3,740. The wheels are Method Race Wheels 705s, which cost $1,783 without any discounts for a set of 5. Initially, Method offered me just 20% off, but when they found out that it was going to be for the new Tundra, they gave them to me and allowed me to share the 20% off with you guys instead. So if you want 20% off Methods, I will put a link in the description for you to get that. On those wheels are 37-inch Toyo RT trails, which will set you back $2,329 for all 5. I initially had a set of 35-inch Toyo AT3s, which unfortunately got ruined after I knocked the truck out of alignment. And when Toyo found out that I had bought those and then ruined them, they offered me their new RT trails for free. So while the 37s didn't cost me anything, I still had to buy the original set of tires to get Toyo's attention. The more observant of you may have noticed that the truck is bright blue, and that's not actually a factory option. That's because I got it wrapped with Avery light blue vinyl, which cost $1,330 just for the vinyl. The most expensive part of a wrap is the labor, and even though I'm not including labor in my total, it set me back an additional $3,300. The truck has been fully outfitted with CBI and Prinsu gear from front to back, all of which I carry for the Tundra and a bunch of other Toyota models on my website at revereoverland.com. So if you're interested in getting that stuff, go to my website. On the front is the Baja bumper, which provides a better approach angle and protection all the way across. Behind that is the air dam delete module, which clears the engine warning lights when you remove that active air dam. Down the sides, I have the standard CBI rock sliders, and underneath the body, the steel Overland skid plates. At the back, I've got the full rear bumper that gives protection all the way up to the tire, unlike most of the other ones available, and it has the option of adding dual swing outs that should hopefully be announced soon. The total cost of all of the CBI armor is an eye-watering $7,163. Up top is the Prinsu roof rack, which has the Prinsu Summit handles and the Prinsu MaxTrax mount, which altogether add up to an additional $1,280. Initially, CBI and Prinsu gave me their roof rack and the bumper in exchange for scanning and design, or using my truck for scanning and design. They had their own truck, but it was a long bed with a small fuel tank, and it didn't have the panoramic sunroof, so they needed mine for that additional research. It's a good thing they did, because they found out that several of their designs from the truck actually needed to be changed to work with all of the models, so it worked out mutually beneficial. Since then, they have been very generous and have given me the rest of the products they've developed at no cost. Again, part of that is for research. When they put the skid plates on, they actually found that it didn't work with my fuel tank, and they had to modify that as well. But I have been very grateful to them because they make great stuff, and the low angles and the low clearance of the Tundra make that armor all the more important. In the front bumper are several components. The winch is the Warn VR Evo 12S 12,000 pound synthetic line winch with a Factor 55 Ultra hook to replace that crappy hook that comes with the Warn winches. The winch costs right now $976, and the Ultra hook is $280. I managed to get the winch on sale on Amazon for $836, and Factor 55 gave me the Ultra hook to show it off at Overland Expo West. The bumpers also have the Heretic Studio lights. There's the 30-inch amber light bar across the middle, then on the edge there's the pair of amber Quattros and the pair of amber BA2s. In the back bumper, there's another pair of amber BA2 flush mount lights for the chase lights, and finally there's that 40-inch light bar on the roof. The total cost of all of these lights comes to $2,440. The main reason I wanted these lights is for the true amber. On my old 4Runner, I had Baja Designs lights, but I hated that yellow, especially when a couple of my lights ended up fading to more of just like a slightly yellow white or a warm white. With the Heretics, you get that true amber, which is far better for driving in dusty or snowy conditions, and they make really, really good fog lights and chase lights. Heretic gave me these lights in exchange for using my truck for R&D as well. They kept it for a month, about 3 weeks after I bought it, so they could scan it and develop their fog light replacement and that hidden light bar setup. Since then, they've also used my truck in a bunch of shows. Just a few weeks ago, it was at the Outdoor Adventure X, and we'll also have it in their booth at Overland Expo Pacific Northwest. On the roof rack, we have several accessories. One of the most useful and most expensive has been the Starlink High Performance Flat Dish. This connects to the Starlink satellites, which give us an internet connection anywhere in the US, as long as we've got a view of the sky, and we can even use it while moving. This allows me to do my YouTube and social media stuff, but more importantly, it also allows my wife to work while we're on the road. Unfortunately, like I said, it's not cheap. The dish that I have set me back $2,500. It was a really big expense, but it's better than leaving my wife at home all the time, which we'd have to do if we didn't have this reliable internet connection. Behind the dish are my MaxTrax, which are mounted with MaxTrax pins. A set of 4 MaxTrax with the pins costs $660, but if you buy from RevereOverland.com, you can get a deal when you buy a pair of MaxTrax and pins, so it saves a little bit of money there. And we also have this little tool for unlocking the pins, normally $12 by itself, but if you buy MaxTrax or if you buy MaxTrax and the pins, we'll throw this little tool in for free if you want it. When I bought my MaxTrax, I got the first pair and the pins at a steep discount, and then the second set were given to me by Adventure Imports. So the total I paid for all four and the pins was $251. The last thing to talk about before getting to the sleep setup and the interior is the rigged Ultra Swing. This cost me $1,649 and is a temporary setup to get the spare tire out of the bed of the truck. The spare, it's a 37-inch tire, is huge, takes up a ton of space in the bed, so I just had to get it out so that the three of us could live out of the truck while we're on these trips. I actually really like the Ultra Swing, and I do think it's a great option for people who don't want a full bumper across the back, but I'll be switching to those CBI swing outs when they're available. The good thing about the Ultra Swing is I can sell it, and I actually already have some people that are interested in buying it when I'm done with it, so I should be able to get most of my money back on it. Now for the most expensive part of the entire truck, the AT Habitat. I initially had the iCamper SkyCamp on the back, on the bed rack of the truck. I love the iCamper. It is the best option if you want a decent sized tent for multiple people, like the three of us, but I really wanted a living space for us to work out of. With the Habitat, it flips over backwards, which gives you a sleeping area hanging off the back, and then you get a small platform for our baby to sleep on at the front, and then you retain that bed space for cooking, showering, or just sitting on the fridge and working. The downside with the Habitat is that it is very expensive. I put a few options on mine, including the pricey Truma heater, which allows me to keep camping in cold weather even with the baby, and that brought the total retail price to $15,625 at the time of purchase. Apparently they have increased the price a little more since, but I don't have the latest pricing sheet, so I can't confirm. To help with the cost a little, I was given a 10% discount because they wanted to have that Habitat on my channel, which brought the total down to $14,063. That does not include the $550 installation charge or the delivery fee to Oregon AT in Bend. The Habitat is one of those things that I have struggled to justify and may have even had a little bit of buyer's remorse. I was perfectly happy with the iCamper, and there are actually several things that I prefer about the iCamper over the Habitat, so I'm not entirely convinced it was worth the cost, just because it's a lot. I could have paid for a lot of trips, a lot of gas with the money I spent on the Habitat. In the Habitat, I have a few things for storage, including a couple of Rome Adventure Company 83-liter rugged cases and an Iceco ALP 55 fridge, and I was given all of those things. They're not permanent fixtures in the truck, so I haven't included them in the total. In the bed of the truck, I have the SHW off-road drawer system. At $2,992, it is pretty much twice the price of a decked system, but it also has about twice the usable space, weighs less, and I can remove it much quicker. With two people, I can get the whole thing out about 10 minutes. It also has fully extending drawers, so if you want an efficient use of your space, if you want to maximize your storage capacity, it is great, and it's actually just as good value as the decked because you get twice that usable storage space. The guys over at SHW Off-Road have borrowed my truck more than anyone else for scanning, test fitting, prototype testing, and then taking it to dealers to demo the drawers and to take it to shows all over southeast of the US, all around Kentucky. And as part of that, they have outfitted the truck with not only the drawers, but also the seat delete in the back. Initially, I had the full seat delete system, which got rid of both seats and had a MOLLE panel all the way across the back. But since I needed a car seat, I have since switched to the 60% delete and have changed those MOLLE panels out for the panels that accept the Milwaukee pack-out boxes, which I think is really neat. The seat delete by itself is $699, but it goes up to $1,349 when you add that back panel with the MOLLE panel or with the pack-out panel. Under the seat delete is my power and air system. The power comes from two 105 amp hour Lion Energy batteries. These batteries come with a lifetime warranty and will set you back $1,698 for the pair. I actually got mine used from a friend who I traded some stuff with. I found lately that the 205 amp hours is not quite enough for everything I do, especially with Starlink and charging drone batteries, so I probably will be expanding it a little more at some point. I've got the option of adding a third line energy, or may switch over to the Dakota lithium batteries, which are way more energy dense and will save a lot of space. The batteries are charged, monitored, and managed by the RedArc Manager 30 system and the Red Vision system, which altogether, not including wires, lug connectors, fuses, costs $2,488. That is a lot, but you also get a lot for your money. It charges from alternator, solar, or 128 volt shore power, has a screen and an app to monitor everything, and the Red Vision system acts a lot like an S-Pod switch system would, meaning that I don't need to have a separate system for set of lights or switches for all of my accessories, and that saves, whatever the S-Pod costs. Just like my batteries, I think the RedArc system needs some expansion. That is probably the weak point there. The Manager 30 it's a great system, but it only charges at 30 amps, and with the Starlink running and pulling like 6 to 10 amps constantly, it's not charging fast enough. So what I'll probably do is add in another charger at some point, so I can add something like the RedArc BCDC series, and that will pick it up and that will charge it faster. The RedArc control screen is mounted using RAM mounts in the front and a prototype Trail Racks screen mount, which, if you were to buy them, costs $92 altogether. Half of that is for the RAM mount and half of that is for the screen mount, but because it's a prototype, I got it for test fitting for free. AC power for the Starlink dish and heated blankets comes from the RedArc 1000 watt inverter, which costs $460. This ties into the Red Vision system, so it can be controlled remotely, which is actually nice. It's actually pretty useful, since all of my stuff is it's under the seat delete, so I can't actually get to it very easily without taking everything out. So turning it on and off would be a pain. And I can also control it using the Bluetooth app, the RedArc Bluetooth app. So it means if I'm in the habitat, I don't have to get out, go around, open up the truck, and turn it on that way. For camping use, I've found that 1000 watts is plenty, and I could actually probably get away with a lot less. I could probably get away with 500 watts or 400 watts, since the most that I've ever used while camping is just like a few hundred watts. But it is nice to have that 1000 watts for home use. We've had our power go out twice so far this year, and both times that 1000 watts has been enough to power the fridge and the fan for the furnace. And it has been kind of a lifesaver. We had our power go out for like a day and a half, so we were able to keep the heat going in the middle of winter. The full RedArc system didn't cost me anything and was entirely given to me for use on the channel. In exchange, they wanted me to make them a couple of videos that they put on their channel, and I also provided them with some footage of the stuff in use that they've used in their ad programs. With that power system is my ARB dual compressor, which cost me $616. This is very much a work in progress, and there will be a video coming out probably late summer, early fall, showing what I'm doing with that. And if you're not already subscribed, you definitely should subscribe to the channel so you don't miss that, and it'll help me out with reaching my goal of 100,000 subscribers this year. The goal with that compressor, the video is going to be about running an air hose to each of the tires, each of the 4 tires individually, and have that air compressor automatically shut off when it reaches the desired pressure in all 4 of those tires. Unfortunately, this has been delayed because my initial test didn't go very well. I bought some air hose that was rated at 150 PSI, and it ended up exploding at about 30-40 psi because of the heat buildup. I have a solution, but I haven't had time to change it up yet. Up front, I have the seat jackers and the multi-mount panel for the driver's seat. The seat jackers lift the front of the seat up, giving you a more truck-like driving position, and then that little multi-mount panel is what I use to mount 2 fire extinguishers, which are always great to have close on hand in case you need them. Total cost of the whole setup is $240, but since I took my truck to them in St. George, Utah for fitting and testing just a few days after buying it, they gave them to me for free. Finally, there's the radio, which is mounted to those RAM mounts that I mentioned earlier. The radio is the ICOM ID2730A ham radio, and that is paired to the Comet SS460SB antenna, which altogether costs $354. So for those of you that have not been keeping up with the numbers, that brings the grand total for this build, if you were to copy me part for part and not including labor or tax or shipping and a few miscellaneous small parts, to $117,702. $52,701 of which was modifications, and then the rest was for the truck itself. My total cost for the truck, so what I paid, again, just for parts, was $90,386, meaning I've spent $25,385 on the mods that you see on the truck right now. That's not including stuff that I have since removed. And unfortunately, most of that was the habitat. Now let's talk about the total gas bill since buying the Tundra. The total I have spent on gas is $16,973. So yes, I have spent more on mods. That should change since I don't have a lot more plans for mods for the trucks, but I do have a lot more travel plans over the next couple of years. If all of that sounds ridiculous to you, then I'm not going to disagree. My last vehicle, which was a used 2010 4Runner, cost me less than the habitat alone cost. And altogether, with everything that I did to that 4Runner, I spent less on it than I have just on mods on the Tundra. And the crazy thing is, I had just as much fun in that 4Runner and did just as many trips in that 4Runner as I do the Tundra. So you do not need to spend anywhere near what I've spent, even on the 4Runner, to get out there and have fun. If you want to see the truck in action as it is set up in this video, go check out our recent trip where we took it out across the Mojave Road and actually rescued a Jeep in need. Thanks for watching.